Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. As you may have just heard, town meeting's third and final session of the fall Winchester Town Meeting has just adjourned. My name is Alan Iden. Let's recap what we went through this evening. Very important article. Article 29 was the funding for WinCam. WinCam gets its majority of its funding from the cable TV licensees Comcast and Verizon. We did get a check in late, but that money has to be received by the town and then appropriated by town meeting. A check came in from Comcast for about $50,000 just a week or so ago, and that was amended to add that. So that money was appropriated for WinCam. Majority of the first half discussion was on Article 4, which was concerning a donation of a house at 160 Forest Street. This house was donated upon the death of the owner, Marcia Chase Rice, who passed away in 2020. She left it to the town. There's been litigation has been holding up town taking title to this. A major factor was a lien of $700,000 by Mass Health. Mass Health has agreed, much to apparently the town's administration's surprise. They waived the lien as long as it's going to be restricted to affordable housing. But this must be settled by mid-January, or that offer to recuse the lien would be dropped. So we heard several legal steps that needed to be pursued. After town meeting approves it, the motion is to receive the title. The affordable house. The intent is to transfer this property to the Affordable Housing Trust. There is probably $300,000 to $400,000 worth of work that needs to be done in the house to make it fully habitable. Let's see. The comments were that the trust can work faster to get it developed and sold to low, moderate income households than the select board. But we heard from several town meeting members, particularly people in the neighborhood, that wanted to make sure the house is preserved as is, at least as far as the appearance and the size. It's a small Cape house, so it dates back to, I believe, 1920. I'm not sure of that, but it's a fairly old house. And they want to keep the look and the feel of it. It's a fairly small lot and a modestly sized house. One town meeting member wanted to be assured it might not be developed as a 40B property. In other words, sold, knocked down, and rebuilt into something larger. Another town meeting member said that her will wants it known as the Chase House. It's an attractive house and could have an accessory dwelling unit, ADU, and make it into two affordable units, and raise the possibility that Community Preservation Act, which was just voted by town meeting, funds could be used to renovate it because it would be a historic property and an affordable property. Another town meeting member gave a motion for a deed restriction limiting significant exterior modifications or moving it on the lot, but that was ruled out of order. There was several heads need to go together on some of these legal issues, so we took a recess. Town meeting had an amendment to convey with the affordable housing restriction, convey it to the select board. That passed by 98 to 50. We did hear from a resident of the area that said the residents were left in the dark. They knew nothing about what was going on with it and did not have any input into it, but they want the house, again, to remain as it is, at least exterior-wise. In the end, after a lot of discussion and a lot of head-scratching, the Article 4 was passed by 143 to 7 to acquire the property at 160 Forest Street. Article 20 was the next one, was the composition of the Finance Committee. There's some clarifications there that the Finance Committee cannot serve on other offices or boards except as a town meeting member. No town employees can be on the Finance Committee. But there's some clarification. There was clarification wanted there so that Finance Committee members could serve on other committees that they are invited on as advisors. And exemptions can be authorized by town meeting. So this article essentially clarifies the current practice of some Finance Committee members going on to other boards as advisory. That was Article 20, passed by a vote of 129 to 17. Article 22 was a citizen's position to introduce term limits for the moderator, the select board, the school committee, the planning board, and the Board of Health. 2 terms, limits of 2 terms in 18 years, except for the moderator, 6 terms. It was a non-binding article because it's not in the bylaws of the town. But the proponents said it was needed to access talented people in town. The Finance Committee opposed it. They said they struggled to attract volunteers. Another town meeting member said there was a good deal of turnover already, and this was a solution in search of a problem. Another town meeting member said it sacrifices institutional knowledge. There aren't enough candidates available, and that running for an office is hard. The comment was that when there are vacancies to be appointed, seem to be enough people to do it, but not running. People don't want to run for that in an election. Another town meeting member said that term limits are important for diversity, and that town meeting member also offered to work with the proponent of the article on redrafting it. But that article did fail by a vote of 26 to 116 for term limits. Article 23 was to go through our bylaws and replace certain terms with gender-neutral terms. Specifics will be presented to the town meeting in the spring by the Committee on Government Regulations. A good example is just replacing the word chairman with chair, similar to what was done with the Select Board, formerly the Board of Selectmen. That passed unanimously. Article 25 was appropriate $125,000 from free cash to the Employee Health Stabilization Fund, and we heard a bit about the soaring costs of health care for town employees. That passed. Article 26 was transfer some small amounts totaling $43,000 among accounts from free cash to cover expenses. Article 30 was an authorization to pay an old National Grid bill from last year. Bills incurred in the previous fiscal year must come before town meeting to be approved. That was passed. We heard from the Personnel Board mainly about the police patrol officer's contract and the transfers needed to fund that and approve certain stipends and classifications. That passed, again, unanimously. And last article of the night was for repairs to the Mystic School heating system. We heard that the total cost was going to be somewhere around $900,000. There were some ARPA funds used on it, and some bids came in lower. The main article was to appropriate $180,000 to make repairs on the system that we heard dates back to the 1920 construction of the school. That was passed unanimously. And that wrapped up town meeting. That wrapped up the third and final session of Winchester's Fall Town Meeting. And actually leaving fairly early. We thought it'd be another 4-hour session, but we are wrapping up tonight. We want to thank you for joining us for our WinCam coverage of Winchester's town meetings. And we wish you, if we don't see you, wish you a healthy and happy holiday season for all of us here at WinCam. I'm Alan Iden. Have a good night.